Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
We are back on Nittany Game Week, time for our Impact Interview, and she is a host at Fox News on the popular program Outnumbered, a graduate of the University of Washington. She continued her education to earn a law degree at the University of San Francisco, started her career as a defense attorney while also serving as the captain of the Oakland Raiders cheerleaders. All this to say, Emily Compagno is smarter and better looking than all three of us combined. Emily, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. I disagree with that. But thank you so much, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. Such an honor to join you all. And as I was telling you just before we started, I have a lot of Penn State fan friends, a lot of Pennsylvania friends who are so excited about this and definitely are more excited about this moment that we are having with each other than anything I have done in the past. So just know that you guys have a really robust following, and it's an honor for me to join tonight.
Well, awesome. We really appreciate it. And look, this is our Impact Interview. So I know you've done a lot of things in the past internationally with your NFL experience. Tell us how the game of football has impacted your life and allowed you the opportunity to reach others.
Well, I will say, first and foremost, just for love of the game, right, that football has added a color to my life that is, frankly, irreplaceable and really unique, right? And that's why we all love it. And then formally, being part of the Oakland Raiders, I had an incredible experience cheering. And I think my greatest takeaway and the greatest root of my experience there was that ambassadorial position that I held, being the face of the franchise for the community. And sometimes in my interactions, or really mostly in our interactions, that might be the only time that fan has a direct link to the franchise. And so to serve in that position was really important for me. And we did so many charities and appearances and school visits throughout then Northern California. We flew to other states as well and around the country. And especially service to the troops for me was the most significant, most important part of my position. I'm a huge patriot, as you guys know. I know you are too. And being able to travel to Kuwait and Iraq and visit the troops there for almost 2 weeks in country, that was truly the honor of a lifetime, to show them that we never stopped thinking about them. We never stopped supporting them at all times, thanking them for their service. And also, again, having that representation behind me, that knowing that I was repping Oakland Raiders overseas to the troops. It's really the most special experience I've ever had.
So, Emily, during your time with the Raiders, their CEO was Amy Trask, really a trailblazer in football. So, as you look at football now, the role of women in the sport is changing dramatically, from scouting to coaching to administration and other roles. How exciting has it been to see the expansion of those roles for women?
Really exciting. I'll never forget. Actually, after when I made auditions for Raiders, and one of our first nights there, we all watched this video together in the theater at the Raiders franchise. I hope I'm not letting out a state secret. But it was this amazing video that showed the clips from the beginning, the inception of the franchise, really sort of detailed the history, the kind of short film that gives you goosebumps. And Amy came in and she spoke to us, and she had such an impact on me in that night. And I was just thinking, like, what an incredible woman this is. What a trailblazer, to your point. This is someone who has thrived in this position that no other woman at that time held. And she did it first. And the reason that she did it was because she earned it, was because she was the best human for that job. And I think that's also my biggest takeaway in terms of that question, to see the expansion in these roles. It's not because they're women, it's because winning is winning, right? Yep. And we're all winning if the best person for the job, the smartest analytics major, the biggest data head joins the Oakland A's or the Las Vegas Raiders or Penn State or whatever. You want the best minds on board. And so I see that as what is most encouraging.
Emily, Tom Bradley, you were born in Oakland, so now that the Raiders are in Las Vegas, do you still feel loyalty to them, or is it more complicated for you?
Oh, hey, Tom, I'm ride or die. You know that. Half of me bleeds purple and gold, and the other half is silver and black. I think as someone who grew up in that community, it's obviously disappointing that I felt that geographically, like, and the local politicians and local lawmakers couldn't get it together enough to retain the team and to provide them the kind of home that they deserve. But the health of the franchise I see is thriving in Las Vegas. It is an incredible stadium. The Raiderettes just celebrated our 60th anniversary of being the cheerleaders for the oldest cheerleading squad in the NFL, and that was an exceptional experience, celebrating not only the franchise but its new home in Las Vegas. And I was just blown away by how amazing it is there. So I know a lot of people have conflicting emotions. I don't. I'm ride or die. But I will say that half of my family has now dropped off, and they're pretty upset about it. But I think it's a testament to the strength, frankly, of Raider Nation that most fans did stay with the franchise, and we've certainly picked up a bunch of new ones there in the Las Vegas area. I'm all for it, because when we were there for that game, it was the Vikings game. It was filled. I mean, people still pilgrimage in just like they used to do for Oakland. So for me, it's a positive move, but a little bittersweet, yes.
Emily, speaking of moving, let's talk about the Washington Huskies. They had a nice opening win, but looking ahead, they've been prominently mentioned as a possible Big Ten target. Now, that means they would come closer to the East Coast more often, so maybe that's a good thing. But how do you think you and other UW alums would feel about a move to the Big Ten?
Okay, I'm going to answer this like an attorney would, which is like, it really depends. It's such a complicated scenario. And my feelings about it, I feel like, I wear different hats in that analysis, right? There's one as a fan, there's one as an alumna, there's one as an athlete. And I think about, for example, the grueling nature, undoubtedly, of the schedule that these guys, let's just say if we join the Big Ten, that the guys are going to have to go through. I think about the Pac-12, or Pac-8, as I like to call it to my ASU friends. But that there's the health assessment that we've talked about just now, right, with, for example, the Raiders franchise. So I think about that in terms of a conference who failed to meet our financial goals, every single year. I wonder how you guys feel about it being Penn State. And I think, the landscape is changing. Clearly, we've seen it change in even the recent lifetimes, what the playoffs have looked like, what the national championships have looked like. And the more football, the better. So part of me thinks that kind of fans who are more insular in general geographically, it's going to be hard for them, right? That's going to be a hard schedule to upkeep. It's going to be hard to see the disparity of, I think, skill that we're now seeing in these conferences with just the sheer magnitude of D1 teams. I think ultimately it will be positive, because I don't want to be the stick in the mud that's like, I'm not for the change and we're only going to stay with how it is. But I will admit that was my knee jerk was like, no. And that's how I felt about USC and UCLA leaving, was like, I'm being left behind in some way. But the more I think about it and sort of see that how much economics plays into it, the more that I'll probably appreciate it in the long run. And think about, UW's, the sort of consulting occurring, that's all consultants and attorneys. It's not like the Big Ten commissions in on those meetings. So I think that sort of goes to show where the focus is now, which is a little bit of economics and the advertising revenue, and maybe as fans we have to keep up. So I'm looking, if they do join and the schedule does increase, I guess I will just take it as opportunities to travel around the country and go to games wearing my purple and gold in your guys' stadium.
Yes. We will welcome you to Penn State if the Huskies do make it that way. You can come tailgate with us. So the Big Ten certainly is going to spark ongoing debate. But like you, I had an Italian father, and every night at dinner there were debates and arguments. So in true Italian fashion, those debates got pretty emotional. Did you have that same kind of background, and did that play into your decision to pursue a law career?
I think, okay, I don't usually debate my dad because we feel the same way on most issues. I'll say that. Frankly, on all issues, I can't think of something that we disagree with. Probably the Italian common denominator is being at the table in general, right? Every night we ate as a family, Italian meals, and the biggest praise and compliment we would get growing up, me and my sisters were like, oh, she's a good eater. Like, Emily's a good eater. Natalie and Julie are good eaters. And to this day, I'm like, that's right. What played into my decision to be an attorney, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I wanted to be an astronaut growing up, but I was too small. So once I really appreciated that after I did 2 years of Air Force ROTC at UW, and it was like just time to sign the dotted line. And I'm like, really? Are you sure? Are you sure I'm too short? And they were like, yes, Emily. So then I said, all right, my backup plan was actually law school. And at that time I had done some traveling in college and seen situations in other countries that needed help. And I thought, you know what, I want to take advantage of the educational system in my country, because my grandparents immigrated here with that dream, right? They fled starvation and a lot going on the island of Sicily to have opportunities here. And I wanted to honor all of the opportunities that my dad worked so hard to provide for us. And I thought no better way than to become an attorney and then try to help others in that way. Lofty goals for a 21-year-old. So, and then I got to law school and I'm like, a C equals JD. All I have to do is pass. I just pass the bar, it'll be okay.
Now at Fox News, you've been a versatile and valuable talent for them. How much fun are you having in all of those roles?
Tom, I'm having a blast. Every day I pinch myself. I'm living my dream, and I think I view my position as being a messenger for others' good works and for people who don't have this platform. And I view myself as being a steward of time. I'm very conscious, or I try to be, I should say. I try to be very conscious of every moment that I am speaking on air, even though I feel like I've been babbling tonight, because I want people to know that their time is not being wasted. I want them at all times to be informed or inspired or educated or in some way delighted, entertained, so that they know that they can come to us and to my show to have all those things, to find all those things. I know you guys are the same way, right? You want to live up to your potential. You want to live up to the opportunity that we've been given. So short answer, I'm having the time of my life and living my dream. And long answer, I hope to keep honoring this network and the viewers and my family by hopefully providing good content for everyone as I go along.
Well, look, you mentioned you have Penn State buds. Make sure they get you tickets to the Whiteout, Emily. If you're going to make it to one of the games, that's going to be the game to get to, okay?
I've heard that. Everyone says it's the best game in the whole world. I'll report back after I go. I'll be tailgating with you guys if I do go, and then I'll let you know if it was indeed the best game in the world. But it definitely, the reputation precedes it, and it's supposedly like incredible. Like, I can't miss it.
There are no boats to tailgate on it in Happy Valley, though. That's the one thing that you guys got at Washington. No tailgating on the lake.
We call it sailgating. See, that's the other. I mean, it's really an incredible experience. Hopefully, if you guys haven't experienced it yet, then you can in the near future when it's not raining. That's the only caveat.
You forget, Emily. I saw that a couple times out there in the pack, so I know what it's like. It's you have a great atmosphere going to Washington too.
Absolutely. It's an incredible stadium. Yes.
Awesome. Emily, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us. For everyone, make sure you tune in to Emily Compagno, the host of Outnumbered on Fox News. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.